Primal Chaos.
Hey guys, Primal Chaos here. Welcome to the channel. I'm going to be looking today at a request that came through my Discord channel. So if you're on my Discord, check out there's a link in the description. One of the people over there who goes by the name Hattie and Willa suggested this one. I've done Story of One Sky before, but she suggested that I check out this live performance where Dimash has actually been performing for around 3 hours at this point. So I'm curious to see how he's going to be able to handle this live. And of course he's going to do it great. What am I even talking about? But I definitely want to jump in and check this one out just from the standpoint of it gives me an extra perspective. I have seen Dimash live before. It's not the first time. And I know he's always pitch perfect and amazing, but this is kind of an extreme example because this is a very long song, but also it's a masterpiece of melodic vocal chops, right? So before I do, I just want to say that this episode is brought to you by my merch store. Go over to primalchaos.com, P-L-Y-M-A-L chaos.com, and you can check out a bunch of stuff. I got like band style merch, shirts, hats, and so on. There's a little nod to Dimash here that you might be interested in checking out. Stickers and stuff like that. But yeah, if you want to support the channel, that's the best way to do it. Head on over there and I'll appreciate you taking a look. All right, so we're going to jump right in. Dimash. I'm going to butcher this. Almaty concert, part 3. This is about 25 minutes and 32 seconds in. And I guess it kicks off from here.
The Story of One Sky. Sizin құрметтеріңізге. Абаңызға. Can't believe what's happening at all. Like birds crazy, we reborn to fall. We are the reason we're causing all that pain. To the secret one that gave us life. Billions of hearts, billions of cells and souls and dreams. Billions of lives shouldn't ever turn blue senses for rose of this and that. They should fall with this spotlight, with brother they fall. Last chance is here. Can we balance all that of your embrace? Our future is impossible to say. So when all the birds and vipers falling, we decide to start the training. We decide to follow them. We are making final thought to run. We are choosing love. We are choosing love.
Just before it kicks off, I mean, I say this all the time when I check out Dimash, but he's just got such a beautiful breathy tone through these parts. That, I mean, again, after singing for so long, this is about 3 hours in, you just get this impression that it's just, he's bulletproof. He's just incapable of not being elite 100% of the time. And, the other thing that struck me was like looking around at the space. You got this enormous audience, stadium, a stadium and a staging set that just dwarfs him. He's a tiny little speck on this massive production space, but he's drawing 100% of the audience's attention, where, you know, it's a transcendent experience for so many people at the same time. They're witnessing something that they've built up in their minds to be absolute perfection, leading all the way up to this event. And this is going to be one of those songs that's going to be the pinnacle for a lot of people. And they're getting everything that they expected. And the odds of that, like the way that the world works, it just doesn't happen that way, you know? And so, you know, that you can see there's minimal production. There's this huge thrust that goes out into the crowd. And, you know, you've got screens so that everybody can see. But other than that, like, there's nothing else really going on here. I'm assuming at some point maybe they brought out dancers and they had a whole big thing. But this song, it really speaks on its own terms. It doesn't need all of that extra production. Maybe they'll bring some stuff out. But just the fact that he can just attract all of that attention. It's like, you know, that expression, you could hear a pin drop. It's that, right? It's because everybody's attention is so fixated on him and his talent and the energy that he's putting out there that there's, you know, it doesn't need anything else. You don't need the bells and whistles that you'd see in most concerts where they're trying to embellish something and make it more interesting. It's all right there. It's all in that frame of that individual standing on stage. That's where the powerhouse, that's where the nuclear reactor is, you know. I'm gonna jump back a little bit.
Learn to share again. Learn to share again. The love that shares. Learn to live again. We have passed the moment of imagination. Walk in the peace. Do we have to stay? Time is up, it's time to set the Here is last chance. Can we balance all days of pure regret? Our future is impossible to save. Oh, and all of us survivors falling. We decide the times are trailing. We decide to follow God's line. Here is last chance. Can we balance all days of pure regret? Our future is impossible to save. So with all the great survivors falling, we decide to stop the trailing. We make it final time from wrong to right. Just our final time from wrong to right. There's losing life. We got losing life.
Oh, I thought I saw a drone. That's really neat. Sorry, I got to stop again. Oh man, just the diversity of his. Like every time I say this, I say one of the most impressive things about Dimash isn't his incredible range, which is obviously wildly impressive. It's the fact that he has an amazing tone quality and timbre in every single register that he sings in. You know, some people can hit high notes, but it doesn't necessarily sound nice. You know, it might sound, you know, like sometimes like a high singer, when they're trying to hit low notes, they'll bottom out and they'll be, and they won't be able to sing with the low richness of a baritone, which he's clearly being able to do here. Baritone or bass, I'm not sure what notes he's singing. But, you know, or like a singer who's got a low voice trying to sing high, sometimes it can squeeze out and sound kind of harsh. And, you know, if they can hit the notes, maybe it's best that they don't, you know, but he's able to just like, you know, and the other thing too, a lot of singers that I've worked with in the past have had, you know, if they're doing a lot of high belting, a lot of times if you go, okay, let's record the next part and it's a lower part, they'll have trouble reconfiguring their voice to get down to those low notes. Sometimes you got to sort of, in the studio, you got to record songs in certain ways so that the singer doesn't really blow out all their energy on certain parts and then have to sort of figure out how they're going to do the next bits. Or if they're doing a lot of low belting stuff, to be able to pull up into a high head voice may not be on the table anymore. Obviously Dimash is on a whole other level, but it's not, doesn't make it any less impressive, you know? So yeah, it's a low E. I've got a feeling that's a bass note. What the hell was that demonic thing that he was just doing? It's crazy. He's so comfortable there. You'd be forgiven for thinking that's where he's most comfortable singing. I think he's just most comfortable singing anywhere. I think that's the trick, you know. But like the other thing, you know, they keep cutting to shots of the audience, and these are people who are having a truly, deeply, almost religious, emotional experience witnessing this, right? And that's not nothing. You know, and I mean, that last lady that was sort of, she almost seemed like she was uncomfortable with how emotional she was getting, you know. I mean, I've, you know, having heard this song before, I mean, I had my big emotional reaction the first time I heard this. And of course, connecting it with the imagery and stuff like that. So I'm kind of able to sort of deftly avoid having like a tearjerker moment, at least so far. But I can see that, like, can you imagine being there and just the gravitas of this entire experience and all of your expectations leading up to this moment being 100% completely met is Phew. That's that's something money can't buy. It's whatever the ticket was. It was cost. It was worth it. I don't have enough notes on my keyboard. Yep, not fine. They're not quite in A440, interestingly. So I just want to take this moment to illustrate to you the range, right? That's a E2 or something like that, A3, whatever it is. But anyway, this is the lowest note I heard. Now, run out of keys. That was his big finishing note. So it's just, I mean, he's basically a tone away from doing 1 octave, 2 octaves, 3 octaves, 4 octaves in that one live performance. And I mean, I might be hearing it wrong, but that's, he's literally, and the funny thing is when you start looking at vocal ranges of singers, and this is something I kind of looked at recently, there's only, when they talk about ranges, they're talking about the range with which they will write a part for, say, for example, a bass or a baritone or a tenor or a soprano or whatever. Obviously, any one of those singers will be able to sing outside that range, right? That's not really what we're talking about here. What we're talking about is specifically the acceptable ranges. Like if you're a, let's say, an operatic tenor, these are the notes you're expected to be able to sing because that's how they typically write your part in an opera, right? And what I discovered was that the range between, say, a bass and a baritone isn't anywhere near as much as you might think. It's only a handful of notes. It's not like, a bass is like way down here and then a baritone sort of kicks in. That's their lowest note. It's actually only a very subtle difference. And again, the range of vocalists exists in a relatively small range as far as the notes on a piano. And that's like anything in an orchestra. There's a certain range that cellos can play in. There's a certain range that violas can play in. A certain range that violins can play in. There's some crossover there, but and then you've got piccolos that only exist up here, and so you orchestrate pieces around the voices and the tone, the note range of, is it tessitura? Is the word I'm thinking of? But anyway, of each part, like that's what you sort of have to work it out. Whereas the beauty of Dimash, and I guess this is the reason that that Igor Krutoy, excuse me, this is very overwhelming right now. The reason he came out of retirement was to work with a singer who's capable of doing all of those things, and I can understand why now, So anyway, I just want to hit that last ending bit again.
chosen. I've we need peace.
And then the show goes on from there. Like, wow. Wow. I mean, what do you say? What do you say about a performance like that? Like, I mean, if anybody watching this was there, fill me in. What was that moment like for you? Put it in words. I'd love to know, because, you know, you could see it in the faces of the people they cut to on camera. But that's one of those things that you wait your whole life to see. That's a once in a lifetime performance. And, you know, I've been to some shows that have rocked my world, where I've walked away from there feeling like I was floating on a cloud, but I don't think I've witnessed anything quite as elevated as that. And I'd really love to hear from people who were there, like what they, you know, and even people who watched the concert and stuff, you know, on YouTube or whatever. That had that emotional connection to it. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, because it's more than just a song. It's more than just a performance. It's a moment in time for, you know, that's a connection between artist and audience that everybody knows is a masterpiece. It's a culmination of life's work, right? It's elevated. It's big. All of Dimash's songs are amazing, but this one seems to stand alone above that as being just something that's a little bit deeper and more meaningful. And I know that he put a lot of work into the clip and everything like that personally, because obviously he senses that too. And every song he does is emotional, but this just seems to hit different, you know, at least to me anyway. So, very interesting. Very interesting. This was great. Thanks, Hattie and Willa. I won't use your real name in case you don't want me to. But yeah, if you haven't checked out my Discord, there's plenty of like-minded folks over there who want to talk to you. There's a lot of really cool people, and they love discussing music, particularly if you're into oddball stuff from around the world. They're a good crew over there, so check it out. Invitation link is in the bio, in the description. Yeah, but if you like what I did here today, if you feel like I've brightened your day at all, feel free to support the channel. Just buy me a coffee. I'll leave a link in the description, or, you know, just like, share, subscribe, post this to any of your Dimash groups and forums and stuff like that. Anyone who might appreciate this reaction, I would really appreciate that. But most of all, thanks again for sticking around. Don't forget primalcast.com for merch. I've got a Dimash shirt over there that I created myself. You know, hopefully you guys check it out, because it is a pretty cool shirt. Thanks again, guys. Appreciate you sticking around, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay primal.